Good morning, all. We'll kick off in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for a few more stragglers to join us.
Yeah.
So,
good stuff. Can you hear me okay, Barry? Yeah?
Yep, you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay, good stuff.
So, thanks very much for taking the time to speak this morning as well.
Oh, no problem at all. Look, I know you guys have done a lot of work in the background to get this together, so my bit is very small compared to the work what you've done.
Look, yeah, we still have more people joining, Alan. So, I tell you what, we'll just close the cameras down.
Are you going to kick it off, Barry, and introduce me, or how do you want it to start?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Just while we're waiting for people to join, I have a small little survey, I suppose, just to get people awake and up and running. So I think I'll just throw it up there. It's all anonymous. So if anybody wants to just throw up their answers to the questions there, it'll give us just a little bit of an indication of I suppose people's awareness of potentially what we're going to talk about today. There we go. So yeah, quite a good few people are aware of Wi-Fi 6. And let me see. Yeah, I the sneaky suspicion that almost everybody has been able to work remotely. So look, again, I'd like to thank everybody for turning up. Taking an hour and a half out of your day. We've a really good event lined up for you all today. So we've Alan, who's going to do our kind of opening statements for us today. So Alan Brown is Senior Sales Director for AIR, who looks after public sector and commercial. We've got WK Lang, who is our global CTO for our enterprise business group. We're also been joined then by Joshua from Luminate, who is just going to go through some of the reasons why partnering with Huawei and the different business cases and use cases which they use Huawei for. And then we've got a really good demonstration from Heng Men at the very end. So I've got two very simple surveys. First one, thanks very much for throwing up your answers there. I'm going to run another one a little bit later on. We've also got two quizzes today, so we have some Huawei goodies up for grabs. So it'll be fastest fingers first. What I will ask you to do, so after WK does his presenting, we're going to just have a little quiz. So we'll have one question. It'll be fastest fingers first. So if you could put your full name and the answer, if you can type it into the chat box. We have an independent adjudicator in the background who is going to let us know who the winners are. We're also going to endeavour to answer any questions. So please feel free to drop your questions into the chat box. Unfortunately, with this platform, we're limited to the amount of people that we can actually unmute. So what we'll do is we're going to collate all those questions and answers and get them back to you either during the actual webinar today, or we'll come back to you individually. So look, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Alan, and thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks, Barry, and good morning, everybody. As Barry said, I'm Alan Brown. I head up the enterprise and government business for AIR. It's great to speak to you all today. It would be a lot better if we were in person and could get to know one another a little bit, but delighted to have the opportunity to speak to you and to see so many of our customers engaged in this really interesting topic. We're delighted today to kind of do this in conjunction with our partners in Huawei. A lot of the material, as you'll see, will be presented by the Huawei team. And I suppose specifically to talk about the future of wireless networks, an interesting topic in itself. But I think also what you'll see as we go through that is that it touches on a lot of the big trends that you're dealing with in your businesses and that we hear from you as our customers in terms of the kind of trends that CTOs are dealing with today across Wi-Fi, across networking, across IT in general. And certainly the position of Wi-Fi 6 within that, of connectivity across campuses and across indeed networks in general. I think there's a lot of that you'll see of interest hopefully as we go through the topics. I suppose in today's world, what we're seeing is that CTOs are always dealing in challenging roles and always dealing with change and different requirements, but probably it has stepped up more than ever in the last number of years with things like the move to cloud infrastructure and many others, but certainly that's a key one. And then what we've seen obviously in the last year is the overlay on top of all that normal trend of the panic of the pandemic and dealing with that in every organization and the kind of changes that is made for people in terms of their network, in terms of where their users are, in terms of the user requirements, in terms of the security of your data, all of these things which have suddenly taken an increased importance and an increased set of challenges, I think, through the last year. I think for me, one of the good news things to be taken from that is probably more and more organizations understanding that their technology and the role that technology plays in their business can actually be a key enabler of that business and a key differentiator. So where for many, and again, depending on the organization, I think sometimes it's been seen purely as a cost and one of the challenges in the business. I think more and more organizations are seeing technology and how they use it as a real differentiator. It can be a differentiator for your people. It can actually help you to recruit good people based on the kind of technology tools and applications you make available to them. And it can be a genuine technology or it can be a genuine differentiator for your business in a very competitive world as well. So that's probably the upside, I think, of all the level of change and the different dynamics. But things like the challenges of dealing with an increasing workforce working remotely, working from home, working from all sorts of different locations, and making all that work from a connectivity perspective, thinking about the security of your data and of all the information, the various collaboration tools that have had to be rolled out. So massive challenges there all the time and massive changes. And I suppose for us as a provider of ICT solutions in the market, we feel that we always have to respond and move and change, make sure we're working with the best partners that we can, the likes of Huawei, who we're delighted to partner with, and I'll talk a little bit about more about that in a moment. But to make sure that we're following the trends like mobility, access to data, where your data resides, how your users access it. Security, I've mentioned already a few times, more and more key all the time as your data becomes more distributed, maybe less under your control within your own data comms room, and as your users become more distributed, all the challenges that brings. Things like being able to enable and onboard remote devices, things like new employees, how you bring them on board in the current environment. All of these create challenges in a telecoms and IT perspective that we hope to be able to help you to meet with our partners and within the skill set, within AIR and the service set. I would just highlight as well, you'll probably be aware that we recently merged with Evros with AIR Business, and we think that's a really important part of what we can bring to our customers in that space, in that it broadens the range of solutions we're able to talk to our customers about, particularly in terms of cloud, managed IT services, IT infrastructure. And that's us trying to respond to the same challenges that you as customers are responding to in your own business. It's understanding that the needs of our customers are changing and what we need to be able to bring to them keeps changing as well. So hopefully that's something you'll see from us now and going forward. I said specifically in terms of the session today, we have a long heritage actually in AIR of working with Huawei, some of which might be a little bit under the covers to you as users of our services, but things like the technology within our mobile network is very much powered by Huawei and have been very strong and good partners for us for many years. And also things like our broadband routers, which are in many homes and businesses all around the country, again, would be Huawei supplied and Huawei technology. So we have great faith in what Huawei can bring to us as a partner. In the last probably 2 years, and certainly through 2020 and 2021, we're now working with them as a value-added partner in the business space. And in fact now have, during that time, started to position and sell a much broader range of Huawei solutions to our end customers in the LAN, WAN, Wi-Fi security space. and we're delighted to do so. We've also indeed used them a lot within our own network, and we're currently rolling out a full Huawei solution across our retail footprint. So as part of that today, as I said, we're delighted to do this joint seminar with Huawei today. Hope the information will be useful to you. As I said, I think it specifically focuses on Wi-Fi 6 and campus, but I do think you'll find it'll touch on a lot of those other issues, or give you a sense of perspective on some of those other issues as well, and we hope you find it useful. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to WK Lung from Huawei, who will take on the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the invitation and also all of you attending this section. In this section, we would like to give you an update about the technology development in the campus networking sector, and also some of the areas you need to consider when you deploy your next generation network. So there will be a lot of information to be covered in this section. So in case you have questions that we do not have time to answer, then you're always welcome to ask for a dedicated section to discuss. So let's start with a definition of a campus. As what we saw up here is that the Wikipedia is all about a collection of buildings and grounds that belong to given institutions. So a campus can be big, can be small, like a small office, or small assembly office, can be big, like a big university campus, can be single site, can be multiple site. For example, we have one of our major customer in the retail sector that they have over 10,000 retail shop all over the world. So a campus can be very different meanings now. So for campus network, so the technology developed need to extend for different to fulfill two different dimensions. One dimension is what we call all different physical environment, as we saw in this slide. It's no longer just talking about office or campus or university campus. It's also talking about, for example, complicated campus like airport, factory, government buildings, all that. Another dimension, we also the new development or technology development need to cover is what we call the convergent services. People try to put as much service onto the same network as possible. In the past, when people talk about multimedia campus network, it's basically talking about just IT or ICT. But moving forward, it's getting more customer asking to put all other services like BMS, like security, like IoT onto the same physical network. So because of these changes in requirement, we do see the campus network need to take care much more different difficulties in terms of 5 different dimensions. For example, the new campus network need to take care of what we call the environmental capacity. For example, need to take care outdoor. The site can be very long length. Sometimes even, for example, like airport, it may take up to 20 kilometers, even 40 kilometers. The core set may not be available. Power may not be available. So we need to take care of all this complicated environment. On the endpoint side, we also need to we also see they're getting more different types of endpoint required to be connected, including mobile phone, the pack. But now people also talking about video surveillance, for example, like sensor in terms of IoT, for example, like retail industry, the RFID tag, ESL, the label. So all these people also want to be connected to the same network. Connectivity difference, of course, I mean, in the past, I mean, the Wi-Fi, wireless getting more importance, but people also need to take care, for example, different speed of roaming. So all this require different technology to be used in order to have effective connectivity. I talk about service convergence before. It's all about building the same network to provide connectivity for different services. That means one single network for multi-service. As a matter of fact, on top of that, people also talking about stacking of service. So with the same network carrying different service on the same physical network, people stack the service together to reduce service. So this is what we call service convergency. And of course, people also talk about while the whole network getting so complicated, but the people still want to demand for simplicity. So simplicity also, the technology need to take care single site and multi-site. People also talking about multi-domain. That means on the same network, people want to have multi-management domain. So people different people manage different group of the networks. And of course, I mean, people expect plug and pay, zero touch, so they do not need to send people down to the site for all that. So in short, the campus environment getting complicated. So people need to come up with the technology that are able to handle all those differences. So in this slide, actually, we are showing you all different technology developed recently in order to take care of the new requirement in the campus network. On the left-hand side, including Wi-Fi 6 and also the upcoming Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7, I will talk about that. It's actually the wireless technology developed in the industry for wireless. Of course, the Wi-Fi technology, which is Ethernet-based, continue to develop. So people talking about 10G moving to 40G, 100G. So there's technology for fixed, or for what we call Wi-Fi. The market also realized that the Ethernet also have quite some limitations. So people talking about a new technology, what we call the POL, passive optical LAN. It's a technology try to complement point-to-point Ethernet. So all these three technologies, what we are talking about, the technology to handle physical connectivity. So I will have more information to cover that later. And as I keep on saying, I mean, people expect to have multi-service on the same physical network. So that means the industry need to come up with technology that can somehow talking about what we call the one-to-N virtualization. So one physical network virtualized as multiple physical network, so that people can put different servers on top of it. So technology in this area is what we call the VXLAN. And Alan keep on talking about security, and but people care about security, but people also look for mobility or flexibility. So a new technology talking about UCL, user control list, is actually a technology trying to offer flexibility and mobility without sacrifice the security requirement. So we will talk about it in a minute. And then, of course, I mean, people getting more and more concerned about how to do control and management. And so we do see 3 different type of technology coming up together to address this issue. So including SDN, software-defined networking, as a control technology. People try to leverage what we learned from cloud computing to do cloud-based networking. And then on top of it, people trying to use big data and AI technology to make the control and management more intelligent. So all these 3 technologies trying to address control and management. And on top of that, of course, all the customers try to have cost saving. So the market actually coming up with what we call the real-time license, RTU, that allow you to have the more or less like a pay-as-you-go model for networks. So all this technology is what we do see in the technology market develop, trying to address the campus environment. So let's address it one by one. So this is Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi has been the so-called de facto standard, wireless standard used in the campus for the enterprise sector. So this is actually quite a long journey, starting from almost year 2000. But now it's the de facto standard is what we call the Wi-Fi 6. With this standard is actually standardized in 2019, close to 2020, but after after almost 2 years of development, that has been quite. Put this way, I mean, there have been quite a number of site, very large scale deployment, and as a matter of fact, Wi-Fi 6 has become the de facto standard. So it doesn't like 2 years ago people ask whether they should go for Wi-Fi 6 or they should stay with Wi-Fi 5, but no longer now it's no longer a question. So by default, in case a customer go for wireless or Wi-Fi, by default they will go for Wi-Fi 6. So these are basically the highlight of what Wi-Fi 6 brings to you compared to the previous version Wi-Fi 5. In short, higher bandwidth. So it's actually 4 times higher bandwidth than before. So in theory, one single section can up to 9.6 gig, almost 10 gig. So this is high bandwidth. Large capacity. Because with high bandwidth, that means you can have a high number of concurrent section or concurrent capacity. But the point I really want to highlight here, as shown in the slide, is that a big part of effort of Wi-Fi 6 is trying to address the concurrent section or concurrent capacity problems. If you look at the previous Wi-Fi 5, if one single AP connected with 50 active users, we can see the total bandwidth drop, effective bandwidth drops significantly. So Wi-Fi 6 try to solve the problem, and now by using Wi-Fi 6, you can actually have up to 1,000 active users connected to the same AP. So the point I really want to highlight here is that it's not only high bandwidth, it's actually higher concurrent bandwidth that so that people can the user can have much better experience. Low latency, another major improvement of Wi-Fi 6 compared with the previous version. So a special mechanism allowed to have lower latency access by user. So again, this is the point, the one of the reasons why the user can have better user experience because Wi-Fi 6. And another direction Wi-Fi 6 try to address is IoT. Because as I said earlier, there will be more different type of endpoints, some of which is actually IoT based, and the battery life may be an issue. So it's one another direction of Wi-Fi 6 to try to minimize the power consumption in the endpoint. So this is 4 major benefit you can. This is sorry, can you hear? Hello.
Hi, WK. No, you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay. So I'll continue. Because I'm based in Beijing, so there may be some problem with the long distance line. Okay. So I mean, in short, this is all the benefit you can. I mean, what the Wi-Fi 6 brings to you. And as all the technology, there's also continued development in Wi-Fi 6. Okay, so as a matter of fact, people start looking on Wi-Fi 7, and idea is also the same. I mean, try to improve to increase the bandwidth. So the target is actually another 4 times more bandwidth compared to Wi-Fi 6 by using technology of like another spectrum. If you look at existing Wi-Fi 6, they are using the 2.4G and also 5G. So in Wi-Fi 7, 6G will also be used. And then there are different technology like increase the channel bandwidth, high number of MIMO up to 16, and multi-band operation. So we do see continued effort trying to continue improving the Wi-Fi technology, and there's more to come. Okay. Same to Wi-Fi. There are also development in wireline, so that means Ethernet. as you can see in the slide on the left hand side, the Ethernet standard try to continue to increase the speed. So you can, as of today, you can see the standard talking about 200G and 400G Ethernet has been standardized. Okay, so now people actually talking about going up to 800G and 1.6T. So that maybe is coming out from around 2025. So this is the target. But the down to deployment, we do have some highlight here or recommendation here, talking about in case you need to go for Wi-Fi deployment. So the general recommendation is that for access means connecting the desktop or the access point. Now the general comment is go for the 110G multi-rate. You talk about server. Most of people using 10G, but for those people looking for high bandwidth servers, actually talk about 25G. Aggregation means the aggregation switches connecting all the access switch depends on the bandwidth requirement. People talk about using either 25G or 40G for aggregation, and then for campus, it's actually talking about 40G or multiple 40G or 100G. So all depends on your bandwidth requirement and also the pricing of the switch. But you talk about 200 to 400G. To be very honest, we do not see that much requirement for 200 and 200G and 400G. So up to now, it's mainly used by those large OTT in the data center. For example, Alibaba, for example, Tencent, for example, like Google, Microsoft, they all try for data center going for 200 and 400G. But other than them, I mean, even the major telcos still mainly, even in the data centers, actually talking about 100G. Okay, but anyway, this is just to show you the general deployment scheme in the industry. There are also direction. So if you talk about wildlife, the recommendation is go for Wi-Fi only. So unless with special case, for example, like you have a legacy cable, then probably use to stay with copper. And then people go for PoE because of the endpoint may not have power supply. So people go with PoE, and PoE drive for continue drive for higher power so that you can power more more capable endpoints. So PoE, the whole direction of PoE is drive for higher power and longer distance. But again, I mean, the direction of even for PoE is go for what we call the hybrid cable. So I will talk about that later. So, but in general, fiber is the recommended media for the campus Wi-Fi environment. And of course, I mean, even at not only talking about the technology itself, not only talking about for the campus or for the data center. As a matter of fact, it is also people also try to apply it to other industry. For example, one of the hot topic is actually what we call in-vehicle network. It's a technology used in the car because it's getting more and more equipment and more and more sensor in the car. The traditional network is not able to provide the bandwidth and latency requirement to address the latency requirement. So people try to bring what we have developed for the Ethernet in the IT industry and move it to the vehicle industry. So this is the development we do see. Technology developing in the Wi-Fi sector. So because of that, in terms of new campus, because of the development in the endpoint industry, the requirement of people looking for free mobility, we do see a big change in terms of campus deployment. So in the past, wireless as a Wi-Fi complementary, people start thinking about Wi-Fi first and use wireless as a complementary. But when they go for wireless, and then they go for Wi-Fi 6 now. But it's no longer the case in the recent 2 years. So now the overall idea is to have Wi-Fi working as wireless complementary. So when we design a network, wireless become more important than Wi-Fi. So this is a general case in the industry now. And as I said, if wireless, go for Wi-Fi 6, then if Wi-Fi, go for fiber. But as I mentioned before, there are always cases that in case of Wi-Fi, people need to go for copper because of PoE power requirement. There may be case that the endpoint require the power from the network. So PoE is actually the standard trying to address this problem. So as of today, you will talk about the most updated PoE standard, what we call the PoE plus. Actually, you can have almost up to 70 watt to power up the endpoint, what we call the PB. But the general recommendation now is that even for those PoE environment, we do recommend to go for hybrid copper fiber cables. That means one single cable with this is a special design cable with both fibers and copper on the cable. And so the fiber is actually for high bandwidth, for the bandwidth, and then copper is for the power. By using this hybrid cable technology, then you can look at the right hand side. Then you can see the differences between the hybrid cable and the traditional catenase. So you can have much longer length. You can have much higher bandwidth, and because of cables, that means it can last for much longer years. So the recommendation is pretty simple: wireless as Wi-Fi as wireless industry, going for Wi-Fi, 6 for wireless, going for fiber with Wi-Fi, and then going for hybrid copper fiber cables in case of PoE required. So on the left hand side, you can see a very typical what we call the IP campus environment. So basically, this is a layer switch network. So you have the core switch, you have the application switch, you have the access switch, and also you have different type of endpoint which can be wireless and Wi-Fi connected to the network. So a typical IP Ethernet based network is basically a tree topology network. But when we down to it worked pretty well in a normal office environment. But when we move to a very complicated physical environment like an airport or like a factory, sometimes we do see the limitation of what we call the traditional IP Ethernet, because it is basically a point-to-point type of networks. So there may be environment that, as we saw in the slide here, there may be environment that the distance, the endpoint actually located very far away. For example, no longer 100 meters, but maybe up to 10 or 20 kilometers, like an airport. It may not be that easy to have corset, or the corset may be quite difficult to have the corset with power. Even you have that, having power in the corset compared to, so what we call compare the passive and active. So active always always have a concern on safety and maintenance. And there may be case, as we saw in the diagram here, there may be case that people, it's much better to go for a point to multiple network in order to save cables and powers. So we do see limitation of what we call the point-to-point network or Ethernet network, and there may also be case that customer look for convergent service, for example, like voice, or what we call the traditional voice or traditional video phone, or traditional video. So this is also other capability that the traditional Ethernet cannot handle. Or you can do voice or video, but that means you need to enable the endpoint to support IP, which may be quite costly for some customer. and again a high cost. So because of that, the industry actually trying to bring what they have developed for the telco industry. So this is what we call GPON. GPON is a technology the telco or the industry developed for broadband access sector, mainly used by what we call the 2C market. So this technology has been very mature and largely deployed in the telco sector, and they do have the capability to support 1G, 10G, 20G, 400G, and it does support symmetric and asymmetric bandwidth. Okay, and this is the main differences. It does support point to multi-point topology, and it does support up to 40 kilometers. So this is the main purpose of people trying to bring in this GPON technology to complement the point-to-point Ethernet. So in short, so people try to take the mature technology developed for the telco market, take it to the enterprise, trying to solve the limitation of point-to-point Ethernet. So this is actually the basic framework and also the benefit of what we call the POL. So up here is actually what we call the physical network to the convergent network technology to address all different physical environment. So you will look at the right hand side of the slide, then you can see first go for wireless, as we said, using Wi-Fi 6. Secondly, for all the physical connectivity, take the best technology for the best suitable for the environment. So you depends on environment requirement. You can pick point-to-point Ethernet. You can also pick the point-to-multi-point GPON technology, and all under IP. So IP is actually the provide all the convergency that you can select different physical media to fulfill your purpose. And all these are basically transparent to the upper layer. Upper layer including virtualized one-to-many virtualized network. We're talking about free mobility and also the management. So in short, the whole point is pick the most appropriate technology for your physical environment, and on top of it, the customer the user can have the same service, and also they can have the same management capability. So this is the overall concept of the development of physical connectivity. So now by leveraging wireless, wireline, Ethernet, and POL, we have one physical network all running IP. And then, as I said before, I mean, this getting more and more customers trying to put more and more different service on top of the same physical network. It's more or less like VPN, but in the campus environment. So as you see in this diagram, for example, there's a very typical university campus. The faculty may want to have their own connectivity. For example, like here, faculty A, B, C, all demand for their own logical demand for their own connection for different purpose with different requirement, no matter in terms of bandwidth or latency. There may be case the IoT department ask for their own dedicated network. Same to security, all that. So the whole concept is to build a physical network, what we call underlay, and on top of it, it virtualized with multiple networks. So every single department go to the central campus networking department to ask for connectivity. So the central campus network department position themselves more or less like an operator for the campus. And then by making use of VLAN virtualization technology, what we saw with software-defined VXLAN, one single physical network can emulate multiple logical networks. So this is the overall concept of what we call how to provide multi-service network on the same physical network. And so now we have we have multiple multiple virtualized network running on one physical network, which maybe consists of wireless and wireline. And then people look for user look for free mobility, but at the same time without sacrifice the security requirement. So the whole idea of the industry is to come out with technology, what we call the UCL, user control list, so that the whole network is actually identify the user by what we call the user ID. The ID can be name, can be whatever unit number you define. So the network, every time they will identify the user, and the network will do the provisioning, provide the best optimum service for that particular user, no matter where it is. And the control is based on username. So in the past, without UCL, in order to handle that, people need to use set the ACL, what we call access control list, for each of the router and switch. So free mobility is actually quite complicated to implement. So the idea with UCL is that the network actually will dynamically binding the username or user ID with the physical security control, so that the network manager do not need to implement all those ACL anymore. So free mobility and security control based on UCL is the direction for user provisioning. And then the direction of control. So we talk about the data plane, but of course people also care about how to control it, how to manage it. In terms of control and management, the direction is very simple: centralized. So all the control will be centralized in one single site, or in case of DR or redundant requirement, you can have multiple. But in general, the management will be centralized, cloudified. So the networking industry also learn from the IT industry. So people try to leverage the cloud technology for networking. So a lot of parameter will be dynamic allocated to offload the network manager for those parameters of the key-ins, all of that. Software defined as SDN. So SDN will be the technology by the control system to control all of the equipment in the network. So that allow it to be dynamic, what we call dynamic control. And another important technology development is that people leverage big data and deep learning extensively, so that you can have much more easy way to manage a network. Let me show up here some of the example. So, I mean, this is just to highlight what to do because of AI or big data or deep learning. So again, by leveraging big data technology, that you keep all the data, and by leveraging AI, a lot of management capability is provided to the level manager. Some of the examples are up here. I mean, it is actually particularly important to Wi-Fi, because the wireless technology is quite easy. I mean, people complain about the network, maybe because of network quality, may also because of the endpoint itself. So people try to, the people in the industry try to make use of big data and AI to help the network manager software. Some of the examples are up here. Maybe too small in the screen. On the left hand side, the scenario one, the user may complain about network quality. By using the new management tools, as you show up in the face, the tools allow you to trace the user, and also highlight where the possible problem is. For example, in this case, the tools highlight the the AP connected to your user with very poor signal to noise ratio. And then it also highlights there's a lot of packet loss. And as a matter of fact, there are 4 network disconnection that we connect during this time period. So this is in the past, without these tools, it's difficult for you to find out where the problem is. Scenario 2 is a typical example that people try to connect to the network but fail. So by using the tools, you can actually trace how the endpoint connect to the network, and so that you can pinpoint where the problem is. It can be because of network, it may be because of the endpoint, it may be because at such a period of time, there are a lot of people trying to log into the network, so that the control or the access control is actually running out of bandwidth. So this is another type of example showing you how to use. The scenario 3 is actually talking about, again, people complaining about network quality. It actually shows you the quality may because of the interference problem. If you look at the graph here, and there's actually a lot of noise in certain period. Okay, scenario 4 is an example. People complain about poor audio video quality. So the tools allow you to evaluate end-to-end section. The tools actually trying to analyze the end-to-end connectivities, the end-to-end section, and may be able to pinpoint to you where the problem is. And in this example, it's pinpoint to the gateway that is connected to the server. So this is a tools people develop to help you to manage the network effectively. Another example showing up here is using simulation. One of the major problem the network manager need to take care is actually the Wi-Fi. For Wi-Fi is actually how to coverage your network. So there are tools allow you to do octo calculation to figure out the signal strength per AP. So the key optimization is you need to increase the signal strength for each of the AP in order to provide better coverage. But at the same time, you need to avoid interference between the AP. So one of the major design problem for the network manager is how to make a balance between that. So a tools is actually provided to allow you to do the octo deployment, but at the same time do simulation. So again, this is another example telling you the new development on the control domain or the management domain will help you to overcome the Wi-Fi deployment issue. So this is a general summary in case you have a very major campus backbone network. So you can show up here, this is a very typical campus environment. So you have data center, you have campus network. For campus network, then we explain a quick summary. We explain for in case you need to need to have one-to-end virtualized network for multi-service. Then in case of connectivity, then you have 10 GE multi-rate for access, 25G to 40G for aggregation. In case of core, can be 40G, multiple 40G, 100G. And then in case of server, 10 GE or 20 GE, 25 GE. Wireless always go for Wi-Fi 6. And then probably you need to consider in case of special environment, you may want to use a GPON or POE as a complementary to point-to-point Ethernet. Then you use UCL for user control and free mobility. And then you use SDN, central management, and also AI for AI and big data for management. So this is a general idea. So just some of the example here. I mean, Newcastle University. I mean, this is one that had been developed for a few years already, 100G campus network and also with Wi-Fi. Another example is in Zurich, ETH. This case is that the fixed networks actually belongs to other vendor, but they just go with us for the Wi-Fi. This actually give you example that Wi-Fi and wireless can be deployed separately. So technology allows you to do so. But remember, I talked earlier that campus, or maybe a big campus, but maybe it may not. It may also be a situation that each of the site is simple, but they have many. The customer have many sites all over the world. For example, one of the example we saw later is Lidl, which is a Germany-based retail customer. They have over 10,000 sites worldwide across 30 countries. So in this type of environment, so each of the sites actually is relatively simple, but they do look for some of the tools that allow them to manage many sites. So the solution we develop is not only able to use that for very complicated environment, but it also allow them to manage what we call the multi-site environment. So you can show up here. It can be chain store, it can be provincial K-12, it can be hotel alliance. So people are actually deploy this system so that they can manage all the sites effectively. So there are special tools allow you to create different profile, and then you group all those sites into different profile, and all of the site will be deployed and managed independently. So this is what we are talking about. So the customers Lidl, they have actually over 12,000 sites across 30 countries. We started deployment with them 2 years ago. They implement phase by phase. This is actually a 5-year plan. So again, I mean, it's a big site. But another point I will highlight is that this is also a very typical IoT environment. They have ESL, so they want to have the ESL also covered by the Wi-Fi network. So there's a special technology so that the ESL actually traffic can be carried over the Wi-Fi network, so that they can one single unified network to manage all that. Okay. Another example is in Spain, the K-12. Again, the many sites. So this is actually the new business model in the industry. So this is what we call the RTU. It's more or less like a pay-as-you-go. So, for example, in the networks, we may put in equipment, and then because you do not need, for example, too high bandwidth, so 40G is good enough or the 10G good enough, then you pay the license for so-called the required bandwidth, and then later on when you need more bandwidth, just buy additional license. So this is what we call the pay as you go model for the networking. So a quick summary about the overall discussion today. So the general recommendation is go wireless, and if wireless, Wi-Fi 6, and Wi-Fi as a complementary. Go Wi-Fi if possible, if Wi-Fi is required. If you need PoE, go for hybrid cable. And POL, in case for very complicated physical environment in which Ethernet, point-to-point Ethernet may not be the most optimum solution, then use GPON POL as a complementary. And so-called IP over LAN and also POL, convergence network, this type of technology allow you to pick the most appropriate technology for your environment. Then we talked about it many times already. Different light speed, different link speed for access, for aggregation and backbone. In case you need to have multi-service network, go for a VXLAN. In case you want to free mobility and security control, go for ECL. And in the management domain and control domain, cloud-based network, SCN, and also AI big data. But that is actually come up with the intelligent OEM, allow you to manage the network effectively. And in our case, one single platform, no matter you have a very complicated single site or you have many sites to manage. And the solution allow you to run on bare metal, on cloud, on premises, and it can, service partner like service partner can also go with it to offer managed service. And the solution we just talk about has been deployed worldwide, so different country. And with that, then end of my presentation. And yeah, so Barry and Ellen, yeah.
Look, thank you very much, WK, and we really appreciate you attending the webinar today. It would be much better to have you physically here in Ireland in person, and we do hope to, by the end of the year or early next year, we'll get you over to meet everybody in person. So appreciate you taking the time to jump in and meet with us today. So thank you very much. So please, everybody, if you do have questions, please drop them into the chat box. We did get kind of a couple of pre-questions. So there was a question around can we transact on the OGP, the Office of Government Procurement Frameworks, which we can. So we're on the 2 networking lots for lot 1 and lot 2. So yes, you please engage with your Air account manager, or you can contact us directly in Huawei, and we can speak with you. We have our own brand group. Another question that came in was, could we organize a demonstration or a POC? So that is an absolute no problem at all. We can give you kind of some contact details towards the end of the webinar. So fastest fingers first. So we've got our first little quiz of the day. So our first prize for today is a Huawei GT2 watch, and our second prize is a pair of our FreeBuds 3i. So it's not too taxing of a question. So if you just put in your name and the answer, it is, when did Wi-Fi 6 first launch? What year? So if you just put in your name and the answer, that would be great. We got people putting yep, we have there. So I've got Rob in the background who's going to act as an independent adjudicator, and we'll be in touch with the winners for that. Also as well, just to make you aware, so Rob will also be in touch with everybody who's been in attendance today. So we're just organizing some digital lunch vouchers, which we will email to you towards the end of the day, first thing tomorrow. So I'd like to welcome Joshua from Luminade. He is going to just give a short presentation. So I'll hand over to Joshua. Thank you.
Cool. Is my audio working? All right. So yeah.
Clear.
All right, great. This is actually a funny story. So my name is Joshua. I'm from the Netherlands. And this is not virtual reality. I am actually in the car. So it's funny that WK actually mentioned something about technology in the cars nowadays. This is not such a fancy car, but the reason I'm here is because of COVID. Well, we're all familiar with the situation, and we're all working from home. And today is the one day that my kids are at home, and they are lovely, but there's no way that I can get a quiet spot in my house. So I just figured I'd put the car up in front of my house, and I'm still connected to the Wi-Fi, so that works. Let's see, how's it? Barry, are you doing the next slide, or can I do that? Oh, cool. Whoa. Right, gotta get used to it. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I work for Lumiat, and I'm the sales manager at Lumiat. And at Lumiat, we design and we deliver and proactively manage wireless networks that are business critical, meaning that the organization depends to a greater or lesser extent on a wireless network. And so the quality of the products that we use and the support provided by the vendor is very important for us and our customers. And our journey with Huawei started about 2.5 years ago when we were asked by a partner to help them out with compatibility issues between the Huawei Wi-Fi and the heart monitoring equipment. That was in a hospital, by the way. And we had no prior experience with Huawei before. But the dedication that we saw of the Huawei team on site and their willingness to fix the problem, well, we were impressed. So that was the first time. And the second time that we encountered Huawei was with another customer in the healthcare market. And again, also with Wi-Fi issues. This was with voice over Wi-Fi. And the speed of their support team and how easy it was to working together, well, that was really impressive. So from that moment on, we decided to take a closer look at the company, at their products, at their proposition, and finally we decided to incorporate Huawei into our portfolio. And so that was about 2.5 years ago. And since then, we've been working very closely together. And yeah, it's been and still is a great success. And when I say working together, I really mean working together, because Huawei is always looking to well, improve the business, improve the relationship between Huawei, their service provider, and the customers, and they're always looking for like a win-win situation. That's something we really appreciate. So that was a little bit about Lumiat and our relationship with Huawei, how it started, and how's it going so far. And I thought it would be useful to provide you with share 3 use cases, and I'll keep it short because everyone has been paying attention really nicely so far. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is Veiligheidsregio Gelderland Zuid, which is, well, I translated it with Google and it says safety region. I don't know if that works for you guys, but it's police, ambulance, and some other organizations that are part of it. And well, as you can see, they have many locations, and they also have a lot of pop-up Corona test streets where you can, well, actually drive through or go to and get tested. And well, the challenge there, obviously, these things are everywhere. They're on parking lots and on this industrial areas, like everywhere, right? And so we designed a standardized package for them for every location, including a 4G router, so that every location could be up and running in no time with a stable, reliable, and secure wireless connection. Configured with the Cloud Campus, and yeah, so now they've been up and running for many months now, and that's working perfectly. And the cool thing is also that these packages, well, you can just if one location needs to be relocated or get shut down, or yeah, you just pick up your stuff and then use it for another location. So that was a very valuable wireless connection there. The second one is they call it Werkspoor Cathedral. It's a very old building, and as you can see, it is, well, it's beautiful and it's massive, and they they organize events for all kinds of different events, and usually their events are anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000 people. And as you can see, the ceilings are really high. There's a lot of, well, it's really radio wise, getting the Wi-Fi working properly there. This is a very challenging environment, and with the right Wi-Fi access points from Huawei, we got this working for, well, quite a large and challenging environment. And the outcome for them was a better customer experience, which is their number one thing in their business, right? And the third one is a healthcare customer of ours. They have quite a few locations, and their IT landscape was, it was very fragmented. It had just whatever, different kinds of Wi-Fi vendors, different kinds of switching. It was just a mess, and very old stuff, new stuff, everything. And so what we did, we designed the Wi-Fi, redesigned the Wi-Fi, took all the old Wi-Fi out, put new stuff in, and well, so from that moment on, at least their Wi-Fi was working properly, but they were still experiencing a lot of issues, and that is where the Campus Insight mainly proved to be very, very valuable for us. WK also mentioned something earlier about the fault rectification time, and that is something that we really, really noticed with the Campus Insight. Like, the information that the platform provided helped us, and eventually, obviously, the customer, for really fixing and finding problems fast. And a lot of problems were just silly things, like typing in the wrong password. Stupid thing, but yeah, it still happens. And but if you don't have the information, then you're just looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes. And yeah, that really proved to be very valuable. It saved us a lot of time, saved us a lot of downtime as well. So that was really, really nice. And yeah, those were pretty much the three use cases I wanted to share with you. So Barry, back to you, I guess.
No, look, thank you very much, Joshua. And yep, you're certainly embracing the whole work remotely, bringing it to a new level. I think COVID has definitely it challenged everybody over the last year. And in fairness, that actually kind of brings me nicely into I suppose I'm just going to run one more just quick survey again, and it's nothing too taxing. So if people could just maybe just pop their answers in there, it's very much to, I suppose, just understand, have an idea of what people's kind of priorities are over 2021, and I suppose just the size of your organization. So some of the case sharing there that WK and Joshua have done, they're complete mixed bag. So you've got everything from very complex rollouts to very, very simple solutions. So it would be great to get some feedback from you. So look, thank you very much for that, Joshua. We're coming into the last piece now, so I'm going to introduce you to my colleague Heng Men, who's just going to bring everybody through a 10-15 minutes demonstration of the Cloud Campus platform, just to give you some really good idea of the actual look and feel and how easy and intuitive it is to use. When Heng Min is finished, we'll do our last quiz. Again, it won't be too taxing. It'll fastest fingers first, and then we'll just wrap up and close then. So look, thank you very much, Joshua, and I'll hand you over to the capable hands there of Heng Men. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Barry. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming through loud and clear, Heng Men.
Okay, I will share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
It's coming
Hello,
through.
Barry.
Yep, it's coming through now. Perfect.
Hi. I will just start the demo part. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Now for my part, I will do the demo about Cloud Campus and Campus Insight. And just as my colleague will present and our partner present that nowadays with Huawei Cloud Campus solution, we just we not only provide the network devices, not just the boxes, but we provide the whole solution. And this is a SDN solution, and the brain of this this SDN solution, Cloud Campus, is based on this platform called iMaster Campus. And today for this demo, it will divide it into two parts. The first one is network automation. I will show you some basic configuration, basic steps, and also some interesting things on the network automation. And then the second part is about AI-based smart maintenance, or you can call it as intelligent maintenance, and how we can use iMaster Campus Insight to do this smart maintenance. So let's go to the first part about network automation, iMaster Campus. Here, this platform works as the brain to control the whole network, even no matter it is a big network or a distributed network. Maybe you have a lot of branches all over the country or over the Europe, and all the network devices can be firstly registered to this platform automatically and managed by this platform automatically. And with this single platform, we can do the full lifecycle management. And here, this is dashboard for Campus Insight, for iMaster Campus. And there are some basic information, including device online and offline logs and user online duration. And because with this platform, we can do the whole configuration of the network. So you can see the configuration result. And for more information, if you are interested in some data or some other trends, you can customize a chart by yourself on this dashboard. And also, this is not only a dashboard for some for monitoring, but also provides some guidance to guide you to do the configuration step by step. So you don't need to search on the manual like one by one, and you just follow the guidance. And when you finish these steps, you can finish all the configuration. So I will show you some basic steps about how to do this kind of lifecycle management. The first step is the design, and for the design you can define a site. This site, you can refer this site to a building, or you can refer this site to a floor, and even you can refer the site to the whole campus. And here, for example, we create one site and name it. And of course, this platform has already been integrated, can also be integrated with the third-party map service. And for example, you can select the specific location, and also you can move it to some other place. And when you click OK, the location of this site will be set. And you can also select what kind of network devices will be managed by this site. And if you click OK, so it is quite simple. You can create a new site, and the related type of network devices can be managed by this site. And the second step is the management of the devices. So for the management of devices, it is also quite simple. The basic steps is you just need to add the devices to this platform or to this site, and you can add one by one, and also you can import by batches. And when you finish to add the devices in this list, everything will be okay. For the rest, the job is you just need to power on the devices and connect the cable, and the devices, for example, the access point and the switches will register to this platform automatically. It is totally plug and play. And when the devices are online, and we can go to the second step for the provision configuration. Just for a simple example, how to configure the Wi-Fi for the SSID. It is also just 3 steps to create one SSID. Just for example, 3 steps including the basic setting, authentication, and policy control. So for the first step, you just need to name the SSID, and also with the first step, basic settings, we provide a lot of advanced parameters such as SSID hiding or something like that. You can take the default one, and also you can define the VLAN. So the first step for the configuration of this SSID is just to name the SSID, and we can go to the second step For the second step, it is about authentication. So this platform, I must answer it can work at the network automation platform, but also this platform can work as the port server to provide the captive portal, and also it can provide the it can work at the radio server. Just for example, for the portal authentication, this platform can work at the captive portal, and also this platform can be integrated with the third-party portal server. And maybe the third way is if you don't want to forward the authentication packet to the cloud, the network devices can be integrated with the local port server directly. So if we choose the platform works at the port server, and it provides different kinds of captive portal, such as username and password, SMS, Facebook, Twitter, and this kind of authentication. And furtherly, some other authentication are also supported. For example, PSK, PPSK, or MAC authentication. And the most secure authentication would be .1x. So here, you just need to configure the radio server. And just as I said that this platform can work at the radio server. So here, you can just enable the built-in radio server. And of course, if you already have the existing network and already have the existing radio server, you just need to input the IP address of the local or the existing radio server, and the whole network can be integrated with the local radio server for .1x authentication. Okay, this is about the authentication part. And then we go to the next step is about port control. This is about QoS. And for the QoS, you can configure the rate limit based on the SSID or based on the terminal. And also you can apply the ACLs or APP filtering policy to the access point. And if we click OK, the whole configuration for the SSID will be generated, and the configuration will be delivered to the network, to the access point immediately, just in 1 second. So this is about configuration. And also we have some other template configuration based on the site. And also we provide the very flexible feature-based template configuration. And also the next step would be about admission. And you can manage the account just as you want. And you can create a lot of accounts. And also for the admission part, the network access control, NAC function, the most important thing would be authentication rules. So here, with this platform, you can define the authentication rules with so many parameters. It is quite flexible, such as you can match the user group, account, or even the SSID, or even the time. Okay, this is about admission. And then we go to the monitoring. This is just some basic monitoring for the whole network. You can see the status of the site, and also the most interesting thing is you can manage all the network devices based on, and even all the sites based on the map. So you can easily to check which site in which location has one issue. And also some basic statistics. And all the abnormal devices will be listed here, and all the alarms will be listed here. And also, basically the platform has the alarm system. You can see all the alarms in this platform. And the next one is about maintenance. As I just presented, that this platform can finish all the configuration, and we can check the configuration result. And for detailed, you can check all the configuration result. And the next thing, very interesting thing, is device upgrade. So with this platform, you don't need to deliver the firmware to the network devices one by one locally. And with this platform, you can upgrade all the network devices, even though these network devices are distributed in different locations all over the country. And with this platform, you can upgrade the firmware in batches and automatically. And you can define the upgrade schedule, when to download the file and when to restart. Okay, and you can see the upgrade result. So this is the whole network automation for a platform for the management of the network devices. And the second one, we will provide a way to maintain the whole network in a very smart way. And in a traditional one, we maintain the whole network based on the network devices, such as whether the network devices are working normal and whether the port is up or down. I think nowadays it is quite far from enough. And with this campus insight, we can do the maintenance not just based on the network devices, but we can do the maintenance based on the experience for the whole network and the experience for each specific terminal. And we can do the related optimization also based on the experience. So here in the health part, you can in the health part you can see all the parameters are related to the terminal's experience, such as access successful rate, capacity, signal, and interference. And also furtherly, for each parameter, you can see the trend, the change of this kind of experience. And also we have in this maintenance dashboard, we have a basic dashboard for all the information for the maintenance. And furtherly, some interesting thing would be like this. We have the service topology. So you can easily to check all the site, all the performance of each site and the related abnormal status. And if you double click this site, you can see the detailed subsite information, subsite abnormal status. For example, this subsite has one abnormal status. If we click, we can see the detailed information about the abnormal. Okay, and furtherly, because this platform is based on the telemetry, not SNMP. So a lot of network performance data can be collected by this platform, and with so much data, this platform can do the big data analysis. The traditional SNMP is far from enough. So with this kind of big data analysis and all the issues, all the events happened in the network will be classified into different sectors. And you will easily to check what happened, what kind of issue happened. And if you click the issue, and it will help you to analyze this event, this issue, and will give you the related root cause and suggestions for the administrator to optimize the network, optimize the experience. And furtherly, we will have the experience analysis for the connectivity, association failure times, authentication failure times, DSCP failure times. And for this chat, the bigger this area is, which means this terminal are facing the most critical issues. And if you click this terminal, and the issues related to this specific terminal will all be listed here. And for example, this is the authentication failed. But for each time, just one-time access, there would be several steps communication between the terminal and the network and the read server. If we want to check or investigate which specific step goes wrong, okay, you just need to click this button for this issue. So we will trace the protocol. So you can see the previous communication are successful, but the final one, EAP result failed. So you can see the root cause will be given here, and the root possible cause, the password or certificate is incorrect. So, and another basic information is about the client, and all the clients connected to the network will be listed here, and the related parameters about the experience will also be shown here. And furtherly, this is not just a list for all the terminals. If we click one terminal, you will get another dashboard. This dashboard is for one specific terminal. So this is the way how Huawei can maintain the experience of the whole network, and how Huawei can maintain the experience of one specific terminal. So we have a dashboard for the terminal and the basic information, and also the experience metric trend, such as RSSI change, change trend, and bandwidth changes and rate changes. and also the packet loss trends and the latency trends. And furtherly, each moment for this client will be recorded here. Each moment for connector, each moment for association, each moment for roaming, each moment for the issues happened, all will be recorded here. So we call it client journey. Okay, if we go back to this menu, we have so many functions in the menu, but to be honest, you don't need to search this search the features or search the functions in this menu. We just go to the beginning, go to the very beginning about the house part, and you can see this platform will guide you step by step to find the root cause, to find the issues. And you just, for example, it marks the yellow, and if you click yellow, the most issues happen. You will get the analysis for this one, and also the related terminals or APs or SSID will be shown here, and the issues for this event will be recorded here. And you can just click this protocol trace, and you will get you can find the specific step, which steps goes wrong for this access. And also you can get the dashboard for this terminal, the client journey for this terminal, each moment for this terminal, and help you to optimize the experience of this terminal. So it is quite intelligent. It will guide you step by step, so you don't need to search the functions on this menu. Okay, I think this is the demo part from my side, including the network automation platform and also smart maintenance about Campus Insight.
That's super. Thank you very much, Hangman.
Okay.
Look, I'm conscious, guys. We're coming up on the 12 o'clock, so I won't keep anybody too much longer. So I've one final quiz with 3 prizes to give away. So the first prize is Gentle Monster sunglasses. The second prize is Huawei GT2 Pro watch, and then the last prize then is a pair of FreeBuds 3i. So this question is just going to test your memory just a little bit. So again, fastest fingers first. Type your name and the answer into the chat box. So the question is, how many Wi-Fi access or Wi-Fi 6 access points has Huawei deployed globally? So that's how many Wi-Fi 6 access points have Huawei deployed globally. So if you could type your answers, your name and your answers into the chat box. I'll give you 3 options. Is it 500,000, 600,000, or 660,000? So that's a little clue. There we go. The answers are flying in there. So look, I'll let Rob in the background do the adjudications for that. So look, I'd just like to just wrap it up. Sorry, the last piece that we have is just very much a call to action. Apologies. The platform here is just not working properly there for me. What I'll do is apologies, it just seems to not work. Hang on. Apologies, it just doesn't seem to be coming up for me there. So look, we've kind of three kind of clear kind of call to actions from today. So what we would like to do is just organize a workshop or a demonstration or a POC. So there's a couple of ways that you can actually do that, and I'm just going to share my screen with you so that I can actually bring you through to the Huawei Ireland webpage. so on the Huawei Ireland webpage, I'm going to share this link with everybody into the chat room. You can actually scroll down through so you can get some more information in relation to the different product sets of your choice of interest. You can also then register your interest to apply for a workshop, join our different communities. You can also reach out to your AIR account manager, and we can speak with you directly that way. So look, lastly, look, it's a big thank you for all my presenters. So Alan Brown from AIR WK, based over in China. We had Joshua in Holland, and then Hengmen in Paris. So we've had a bit of an international attendance for speakers. So look, thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to speaking to you in the future. Thank you.